Chef RPG is a brand new cozy game that launched into early access back in September in a similar vein to something like Stardew Valley or Traveler's Rest. Now, initially, I was only planning on playing this game for about 20 hours or so, as you can see from the original thumbnail of this video, but here we are 90 hours later, and I physically had to stop myself from launching the game in order to work on getting this video out. It's that good. In this video, we're going to talk about everything that this game has, from the early game experience to the mid-game content, and of course, the late game progressions. But before we get into all of that, what is Chef RPG all about? Chef RPG's premise starts off really similar to Stardew Valley. You play as a young chef who's burnt out from the stress and busyness of the big city, when out of nowhere, you receive a rare opportunity to revitalize a long-abandoned restaurant. So you packed your bags, hopped on the train, and when you arrived, it's not at all what you expected. You found yourself in a quaint little seaside town that's clearly way past its prime called White Ash Harbor, and it's up to you to bring La Sequoia back to life, and in extension to that, bring the whole town back to its former glory. It's a simple and straightforward premise that beautifully sets up the fact that number one, the town is not what it used to be, and number two, through your efforts with the restaurant, you're gonna have a ripple effect that might potentially bring in more visitors and thus more business into the dying town. And this becomes the foundation of the story, which, although incomplete in this early access version, is actually intact and already has 3 very good acts. You start to meet people, build relationships, do character quests, and all of that on top of a really good restaurant management game. It's the perfect blend of restaurant management and RPG features that somehow was able to include stuff like farming, housing, foraging, mining, and it's even got a combat system, which we'll discuss in the later sections of the video. But for now, let's talk about the early game, specifically right when you first start the game. So immediately when you hit new game, you're hit with a choice of when to start your journey. There's all the 4 seasons there for you to choose from, but for me, I chose spring because it's the furthest away from winter. And winter in this game is pretty rough in terms of foraging and getting certain ingredients. So if you're new, I'd advise to start at any time outside of that season. After picking a season to depart in, the game opens up with this intro that's absolutely Stardew Valley-esque, and then finally, we get to create our character. And this character creation is surprisingly well done. I mean, I was expecting something super basic, pick a name, pick a couple hairstyles, and we're done, but no. In Chef RPG, you have the option for what your specialties are as a chef. I picked mixology, by the way, because I thought I was going to create a little seaside bar. You can choose body type. You can even be an android here, which gives you different buffs compared to if you were a human. There's also a bunch of hairstyle options like your basic fades, your middle-aged millennial who's still rocking a man bun, and your K-pop wannabe whose hairstyle is literally called oppa. I made the character as closely to how I look IRL, and once that was done, we even got to allocate skill points, which I feel really leans into that RPG part of the Chef RPG title. And now, the game opens up with a whole intro, cutscenes, tutorials, and all that stuff that I'm not gonna spoil for those who want to try the game. So now, let's talk about the game mechanics. Now, obviously, since this is a restaurant management RPG, the main game mechanic that everything revolves around is the restaurant management. There's 2 aspects to it. The first one is preparation, which includes gathering your ingredients and getting the restaurant to a point where you can start seating customers. How you get ingredients can be done in a variety of different ways, but at this point in the game, you're probably going to do a lot of foraging. This is why I told you earlier not to start in winter, because come winter time, there's not a lot to forage. Aside from stealing ingredients from the local wildlife, you can also turn the wildlife into ingredients, and you can do that by acquiring a bow or a spear, and that'll allow you to engage in some hunting combat. It is pretty simple though, and even though you get weapons later on that have stun passives, faster draw, or bigger damage, the core combat remains the same. You kite stuff and they die, and then you cook them. Oh, and I forgot to mention, there's fishing as well. Lastly, for the ingredients, there's also farming, which is pretty basic compared to Stardew. You can only do it in this greenhouse, which can't be upgraded, and while you can upgrade your water can later on, it only increases the capacity for holding water. Thankfully, there's sprinklers as well, but as of now, there's only 2 types, and that's fine for me. I didn't really come to Chef RPG to farm, so after I got most of what I needed, I just basically went here occasionally to harvest. Then there's grocery shopping, which gets very expensive early game, but by late game, this was my main source of ingredients. Now that you have stuff to cook with, let's talk about the stuff you need to actually cook the food. Whenever you're inside the restaurant, at the bottom left corner of your screen, you'll see this build button which allows you to decorate your restaurant. And in the beginning, you're just using this to place tables, chairs, and various cooking appliances. But for me, when money was not a problem anymore, this became my main source of enjoyment. Let's just say you can really get into the decorating mechanic of the game. It's pretty damn good. Once you have everything set up, you just click this open restaurant button and voila, you're open for service. The service minigame is straightforward. People order, you get your ingredients from the fridge, and then you head to the designated cooking appliance to actually get the food ready. At first, these minigames for cooking start off pretty fun, but it gets tiresome very quickly. So thankfully, they added an auto cook option which can be unlocked by successfully doing the minigame associated with the rarity of the recipe you're cooking. Once you're satisfied or you've ran out of ingredients, you can close the restaurant, finish up the orders, and you make some money. That's the core gameplay loop of Chef RPG. It's all about gathering ingredients, making money through the restaurant, and scaling everything up through upgrades. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds incredibly repetitive, and it is. So how did I end up spending 90 hours doing just that? Well, I wasn't doing just that. Chef RPG does a great job of integrating your goals to the story of the game. So for example, Act 1 was all about getting your restaurant up to speed and hosting a soft opening, meeting characters along the way to help you do just that. At first, I couldn't store ingredients because the fridge was broken, so I went through a whole questline getting to know the characters and doing stuff for them, and in turn, getting to know the world. Same for the broken floors. So there's a whole storyline aspect to this attached to the goals, which makes things seem very organic with our characters' integration into the town, and it also breaks the monotony of just running the restaurant. And they keep moving the goalposts from soft opening to grand opening to dealing with food reviewers and a bunch more story challenges. Now, since we're talking about things beyond the early game, I think this is the perfect opportunity to discuss the progression system in Chef RPG. Before moving forward, I'd like to first thank the sponsor of this video, GAMIVO.com. Do you want cheaper games? Little low on the gaming budget because you got bills to pay? Well, I've got you covered. GAMIVO is an online platform for gamers where you can get your favorite games at the best prices. They've got a huge selection for all of the major platforms, and not only that, but aside from cheaper games, they've kindly prepared a 5% discount code for the viewers of the channel. That's right, if you head to the link down below in the pinned comment or the description of this video, it'll direct you straight to their website. Pick any game you want, and on the checkout page, make sure to type in code Kaganath to take advantage of the 5% off. In addition, if you want exclusive daily or monthly discounts and VIP access to a 24/7 live chat with their support team, go ahead and sign up for GAMIVO Smart. It comes with everything I mentioned, plus pre-order priority and a free customer protection program. All of that for only $1.15 a month. They're also verified in Trustpilot, having amazing reviews, so you'll know that your purchases are protected. So if you want to get your favorite games at discounted prices and support this channel at the same time, head on over there with the link down below and make sure not to miss out on the 5% discount with code Kaganath. Let's get back to the video. There are two main ways of progression in this game. One is character progression and two is restaurant progression. Let's discuss character progression first. Remember the stats that we allocated back in the character creation screen? Well, as you level up each of those skills by doing them, you increase your overall level up to level 50. And every time you level up, you unlock a skill point which can be used to activate certain perks. Perks are not only used to add passive buffs to your character, although you can, but some features of the game are actually tied or locked behind some of these perks. Things like brewing your own alcohol, unlocking research facilities, or being able to place delivery orders so you won't have to walk to the actual stores anymore are some of the benefits these perks give you. Aside from that, depending on your build, you can lean into stuff like being better at combat, being a great cook, or being an absolute beast at running a restaurant business and making up to 400,000 credits in a single service. And then of course, there's the restaurant progression. Obviously, you're not going to be running a whole restaurant by yourself, so pretty early on, you will be able to hire staff, chefs and waiters to help you out during service hours. The more and the better chefs you have, the faster food gets cooked, and the higher the dish quality your customers get. The faster your overall service is from the order to the food getting plated, the higher the customer satisfaction becomes, which is tracked every time you finish a service. Oh, and you can upgrade both the size of your restaurant and your fridge to increase capacity, allowing you to make more money. Now, this is what it looks like early on in the game, but once you start putting anywhere between 30 to 50 hours into the game, it starts to get pretty hectic. In my current restaurant, I have about 20 staff total running around to keep my restaurant up and running, which might look chaotic, but honestly, it has been one of the most relaxing parts of my day. There's something oddly satisfying about a perfectly running kitchen, and most of the time I had something playing on YouTube in the background while I was playing, and I haven't felt that relaxed in a long time. Aside from those two main progression systems, there's a couple of soft progressions scattered in the game as well, constantly giving you tiny goals to strive for, which worked effectively on me. I was basically a hamster on a wheel. Once you unlock the town hall where you can upgrade your restaurant, change floorings, and all of that, there's also the donation box, which allows you to contribute your credits and various resources to start projects around town. This is an example of what I was talking about earlier, where you can directly affect the rebuilding of the town, allowing you to unlock new locations, open up new shops, access to more features, and you get the gist of it. There's also questing, which aside from the main quest line, depending on friendship level with the NPCs, you can do each of their character quest lines as well. There's also board quests, which are like daily quests giving you various rewards from furniture, ingredients, recipes, to even power cells, which are like the main resource you use for upgrading tools and buildings. Lastly, for the mid-game section, I kind of mentioned it earlier, but yeah, there's relationship building in this game as well. Although this is one of those features that are not fully in the game yet. I romanced one of the characters, and while there were cutscenes, once we officially entered the relationship stage, there wasn't anything else beyond that. So that's for the mid-game progression. Once you hit the later stages of this early access title, which already has an insane amount of content, unfortunately, there's not a lot of story anymore after the third act. But there are still things you can strive for at the current endgame if you want to keep playing. First, there's research facilities, which can be unlocked in the town hall. These research facilities are specific to different food types, but basically what it does is it allows you to spend ingredients to level up your knowledge of various different types of cuisine in order to gain passive buffs for that specific food type, as well as unlocking rare, epic, and legendary recipes. Once maxed out, you'll be able to hire chefs specializing in that food type as well, and also you can enhance recipes that you currently have and add legendary ingredients to them, basically doubling or tripling their value, which is crucial in the end game because legendary staff will eat up your restaurant profits. And then there's the Bathhouse. A little tiny spoiler warning for what you can unlock at the third act, but once you've worked on repairing the bathhouse, not only do you get a second restaurant, the tea house, but you can start grinding sulfur in the volcano in order to turn them into bath blocks for the bathhouse. And this rewards you with Peony tickets to unlock the rarest decorations in the game. Basically, another form of endgame progression to further make your restaurant look a lot better. Couple more features that I wasn't able to mention in the earlier sections that I feel really adds character to the game are things like the home feature. You can buy a home, decorate, and even upgrade it, which can potentially add more playtime for people who enjoy the designing aspect of these cozy games. And once you unlock certain shops, you'll be able to buy pets and have them live with you. There was also mining and crafting. Basically, you can unlock caves at some point in the story, and using a furnace, you can refine the materials and use them for upgrading. There's a couple more there, but I'll leave the rest for you to find out once you actually play the game. Now, at the current stage of the game, I really do feel like it's on the trajectory to be something truly great. Some people complain that the restaurant management minigame gets repetitive, but honestly, that was the coziest part for me, and I would rather the devs keep that simple while adding more content outside of it. Obviously, more story acts would be amazing, but seasonal challenges like adding more frequent food critics, in my opinion, would be a great way to incentivize players to constantly improve their restaurant. Restaurant automation would be great as well because at this point in my playthrough, I basically never touched the tea house anymore, simply because my main restaurant can hold a lot more people, so there's no reason for me to run the tea house. If I could assign a head chef to that restaurant for weekly credits, and in turn that restaurant would make me passive income, that would be a great incentive to keep improving that restaurant as well, even if I won't be running it myself, because better staff and decorations would equal higher customer satisfaction and revenue. There's a couple more things I'm hoping for, but a lot of them are already on the development roadmap, so the future is pretty optimistic for this early access title. Thank you to our Patreons, Ali, Chloe, and Villain in Glasses for continuously supporting the channel. If you'd like to become a part of that, or even be the first member on YouTube for these exclusive perks, feel free to join in. Hit that like and subscribe button for more content like this, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!